Okay, we're up to part two now. This keeps happening. I got to go on airplane mode. So we're at podcast six, part two. I got interrupted by one of these. This is regarding this. I don't have a student loan. That's one thing. My parents were good at this. I never had a student loan, and believe it or not, I have credit card debt like up the wazoo. Who knows? I don't. I'm so paranoid. I won't find out. So I'm gonna have someone find out for me. I'm really scared. I don't want to even know. I mean, it started about who knows, like 10,000. I mean, who knows what the interest? Who the fuck knows? I don't want to know. So, getting back to my podcast number six. So we were at the point we discussed how I ended up in the psychiatric ward. That was the subtopic. We talked a little bit about how I was drunk. I threatened to commit suicide. My friend found out. He calls my family, and then I get six police officers and three members of my family, and they take me to Elmhurst Hospital. There's a guy next to me. He's shaking. He tells me he's a drywall. And he told me an interesting story why I became an alcoholic. Now, apparently, again, drywall is extremely boring work, I would gather. And what's happened was during the day, so they get down there in the morning, and the boss brings a huge, like, who knows how much beer. Because most of the guys are Latin guys, like Mexican guys, and they're drinking freaking all day. Because they want to drown their sorrows. First of all, low status guys, work is fucking boring. It's something you probably do when you're drunk, right? So they're drinking all day. So any drywall, he can get away from this shit. He's drunk all day. And there's probably no way away from this. I mean, unless he gets something else, can't work it off. I don't know. I mean, what are they going to do for this guy? I mean, he has to make a living. Maybe he has a family, maybe he has kids, he has a wife. They're depending on him. This is really fucked up shit, man. It's fucked up. And it's probably every drywall job is like this. They probably put him on the payroll because they need to put a few people on the payroll. Don't look good if everyone's not on the payroll, right? Probably put a few of the Mexican guys too, but I know how the shit works. That's what they do. They say, well, they can't be, you can't, how the fuck am I going to know? I mean, just make assumptions, they have these ratios, they go labor to sales ratio, and they got to be more, but how do you know? I mean, you don't know. I mean, it stands to reason that many people cheat in these trades, of course. I mean, you know that. I mean, you can assess all of them, but you really don't know. I mean, guy could be totally honest. Don't know. Just don't fucking know. So, and they go, oh, come on, If the ratio is 10%, I mean, it's true. You probably, I mean, guys are like 20, 25%. They're probably cheating too. So you don't know. So then they take me downstairs, and they have a big room. And so they have the females on one side and the males on the other side. There was actually two really good-looking girls. There was this one, like, she was a little overweight, but she's really pretty. She had really nice hair and like these Spanish features. She's really cute. And I was kind of staring at her. I think she like caught on to that. And there was an Italian, nice looking young. They were both young, of course. And there was a nice looking Italian girl. And what happened? Your boyfriend? There's a lot of these visits happen like on Friday. I would imagine Friday night. Thursday night breakups and things like that. And Fridays also could be a job. Maybe Monday. I think I heard now how do they fire you. Sometimes they do it like on Monday morning, so you don't expect it. They come in, okay, Tom, we need to see you. And there's like three guys there. There's like your boss, like the head of the department, and it's like security, and like and he's there to make sure you don't fucking like fucking toss shit. He's a big guy, like so. Here to take your security. They got the head of the department to intimidate you a little more. And it's Monday morning because you don't expect it. You like expect now Friday. Okay, I made it. Because something's up. If you fuck up, something's up. So now they do it on Monday morning. So I would imagine now, psych ward admissions are high. So now, after you get fired, and they take your ID, they escort you out. Get the fuck out. It's like, what do you go? What do you do? So it's in the middle of Manhattan, right? You're in your suit, and like you went in, you're like, I made it, and now you're fucking, it's fucked up, and like losing your job. I mean, This is not good. This is like one. I mean, after, let's say, a death of a child, the death of a loved one, let's say, and even I think this is worse than the death of a parent, because the death of a parent is usually a natural thing, a natural, usually, not all the time, but is natural from natural causes, right? So I would gather that even though it's hard, you can accept it at some point. But loss of a job, not by something like a layoff, you know, a layoff you can live with because you always have an excuse. You could probably definitely get a reference. You could, because they say he was a good worker, but we just didn't have the resources to keep him. Elimination, another company, buy whatever it is. You could always get around that. So it's never bad news, really. It's not good, but if you get laid off for incompetence, that's really, you're fucked. I mean, so to me, that's like one of the worst things that could ever happen. I mean, death of a child, of course, the death of your wife, maybe death of a brother and sisters. Those might be in there, but probably worse. But this is death of yourself. That's probably the best thing that can happen to you in this life. But death, loss of a job for your incompetence. I mean, it's funny. There's over the weekend. This field goal kicker for the Minnesota Vikings, and it's weird. I'm from New York, and I love the Vikings. And I guess when I was a kid, I liked like Barney, I like purple. I like their purple jerseys. Whenever I loved them, and they were always a good team. In fact, they have the best record from 1970 to the present, and never win a Super Bowl. That means they're the sixth all time, and they always seems to have very rare. Once in a while, they're like bad. I think they had a 3-13 team, like in 2012 or something. So they very rarely have a bad team. They always compete, but they always fuck up. And the last 6, they've been in the championship game 10 times since 1970. So that's in the last 48 years. So that's like 1 in every 5 years. And I'm sorry, 6 times. Yeah, they've been 10 times total in the last 6 times. So that's 1 in every 10 years. So that's not bad. Once every decade. And they have lost each one of them, 1 in 6 times. You figured they'd win one of them, and they lost in overtime. I think they've lost in overtime maybe twice, so they lost in overtime twice. 2 out of the last 3 games they lost in overtime. They got routed last year when they were in the championship game, so not good. And so this year they have this could be the best team talent-wise in the NFL. So this could be the year. And I'm hoping, because I might be homeless by the end of the year. You're going to be homeless, you're going to be homeless, you're going to be homeless. So this could be the year. So if there's any year they win, I might go out with a bang. I don't know. But I'm going to die, and then I'll just rot, and it won't matter anyway. So just getting back to the Vikings. So it's a rookie. Beat out Kai. His name is Daniel Carson, and he beat out Kai Forbath, who's there, so he gets the job, and it's a rookie, and it's supposed to be a great thing, so he makes the first game, and there's no problems or anything, and the Vikings win the first game 24-16, so he must have did okay. There's no problems. Now this game, Vikings had a couple of very good breaks. Now he misses 2 field goals, which were kind of difficult to hit. I'll guarantee they're 48 yards and 49 yards. Now, these days, the kicker, back in like the 60s and the 70s, those were hard field goals. But today, the kickers are much better. So those are field goals. You should be able to hit at least one of them. Okay, so he missed 2 of them. Fine. Now, Vikings got a couple of breaks, and they were able to tie. They were behind, and they made a great comeback, and they'll tie the game at 29. So the game went into overtime. And the Vikings drove down the field, and what they did is they elected to run down the clock till 4 seconds, because they had the ball on the Packer 17-yard line, I believe, right? And there was a chip shot field goal, right? And there's a 35-yard field goal. And if he misses it, the Vikings would have came away with a tie, which isn't bad. You go into a good team like the Green Bay Packers, and you come with ties, good. But he has a chance to come out with a win against Green Bay, and that would be really cement them as one of the better teams in the NFL. You go into Green Bay and you beat them, you're now 2-0, and things are looking really good. So guess what he does? He shanks it, and I'm saying to myself, well, you missed 3 field goals, and you missed the game-winning overtime. There's your job. And sure enough, Monday they signed Dan Bailey, who was released by the Cowboys. He has like a groin problem. He wasn't kicking well, but he's still Dan Bailey. And Dan Bailey's the second most and this guy's unbelievable. He's like maybe the greatest kicker I've ever seen. He's supposedly the second most accurate kicker of all time. Like this guy, like from 50, I've seen this guy from 53 yards. If you're not a football fan, 53 yards is really far. He puts it straight through the uprights. I mean, like dead center. So if he recovers any of his form, this guy's unbelievable. I mean, this guy's great, one of the greatest kickers I've ever seen. So now, Daniel Carson, what do? Okay, so you got your rookie, you got 2 games, there's no guaranteed money. So I don't know how much money he got. He might, he probably got for 4 exhibition games and 2. So I don't know. He got maybe 20 games. I don't know. I'm going to do the math. 20 games, maybe he got like $500,000. And out of that, he got 6 out of 20. 3 out of 10. You got 30% of 600. So what is that? 180,000. Let's say. And you put taxes, it's probably like 100,000. Now I got $100,000. And what does he do now? So unless someone else comes to call in, there's not much football. It's not like you go to Brazil and play football. They don't play American football down in Brazil. And England, although it's catching on, maybe England might get an NFL franchise at some point. For my English viewers, it's not big. You can go to the London Times. They don't have much mention of NFL. It's not a big thing. Over here, they sometimes mention the English Premier League. Like Tottenham beat Arsenal or whatever. So, and soccer match or a football match, they call it there. But so this is not good. Okay, so he got his 100,000, let's say. Now what does he do? Unless he has some backup plan, he might be fucked for life. I don't know. I mean, what does he do? I mean, what do? You got $100,000, and he has rich parents. I don't know. I mean, this is a bad situation. I mean, this could be really bad. I mean, he could start drinking. You don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of athletes that have gone on the Donnie Moore story is a great story. Maybe if we have time today, we'll get into the Donnie Moore. We'll do it in another podcast of someone who had relatively a good life, and one pitch, a baseball player, he threw a pitch that was hit for a home run in a big situation, and it turned his life around to the point where he tried to kill his family, and he killed himself. So this happened a long time ago, 32 years ago. 1986 was the pitch, and I think he tried to kill his family in 1989, so almost 30 years ago. But so Daniel Carson, I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I bet you, unless he gets another job in another team, which is he's very young, and I'm sure he has a good foot, and maybe he recovers from this, but this is not good. I mean, this is what life can happen. If you're young, you don't see this shit. And who's going to hire him now to play football, to kick footballs? I mean, he's already shown he cannot. He's shown he cannot kick the ball in the clutch. He's shown that. He's already demonstrated it. He's shown that he is not a clutch player, has he not? He's already shown. I mean, that's what you need. You need a guy who can kick the ball from 40 to 50 yards at least, who can kick them under pressure, with 6 or 7 African American guys who weigh 275 pounds running at you at 4'5", and that's not easy. I don't want to do that. That's scary. I mean, the greatest. I mean, they might be the greatest athletes in the world. You think guys that weigh that much, that strong, and that fast? I mean, you don't. That's not easy. That is not easy stuff. Get hit by those guys standing still. Ooh. not an easy game. I think football players probably have any sport. You can name it. I mean, you know, Thai kickboxing. This might be harder. They always say Thai kickboxing is the most violent sport in the world, but I mean, American football is just brutal. You know, the hits. I mean, they've cleaned it up a little, like all these rules. You can't do a horse collar tackle, this and that. But okay, so I go stay in Elmer's Hospital, and that was an experience. And the stay was for about a day and a half, and I had some interesting people. I had some real, I mean, well, everyone's crazy there, but the guy next to me was like, I want out of here, I want out. And he was just like freaking out for like the whole stay. I mean, he was just like, oh my God. And they had like a special room. I think they eventually put him in, you know. They give you like extra crazy. It's like you can go on, pizza, you can get extra cheese. Like this guy was like extra cheese. He was extra crazy. And I think eventually they put him in this room if you're fucking extra nuts. I mean, special place for this guy. And there was a guy sitting next to me, he's an African American guy, and he's an interesting guy. He had like a little ponytail in the back, and he didn't seem nuts at first. He was like, I was talking to him a little, and my sister came. He was talking to my sister, and like he was like trying to flirt with every girl, and this and it came out. He basically did this on purpose. He would come to the hospital. He was all over. He's talking about Chicago. I did this in, whatever. And he moves like from state to state. And what he basically does, he goes to the hospital. And he doesn't stay that long because eventually what's going to happen is they're going to fucking put him in the state hospital. Like, what do they do? I mean, this is an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you work in the field of psychiatry, and I'm fascinated by this, email me at thegreatjewatheist@gmail.com. What do they do in this situation? Listen to this. So what he does is he goes to a psychiatric, hospital, like a regular hospital though, not like Creedmoor or Pilgrim State or one of those nice places. And he goes, I want to kill myself. I need to see a doctor. So he goes right to the, Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, and they take him in, and he stays like 3 days, maybe more, and gets free food, he gets free housing, and they send him on his way. And he keeps doing it, and he's smart enough to know at some point they're going to get upset. And what they're going to do is they're going to send him to like a bad place. I don't know, Willowbrook or, wherever they're going to send him, So he flees. He gets money somehow. He steals, I don't know. And he goes. You see him immediately. Wakes up, takes a shower. Like, he knows everything. And, like, this is a really bad place. So they got the girls on one side, and they got these, like, bed couches that you hardly sleep on. It's, like, really fucking bad. It's like, and so at first I thought, he's, like, pretty normal. I listened to his story. But then I think he is a little crazy, this guy. Maybe he wasn't. Because first I noticed, like, if a guy's in front, like, even facing him, I notice about a lot of these patients, they have this thing where if you're even behind them, they get a little scared. They go, get the fuck away from me. You're behind me. That's like one thing. Like, someone's behind me. It bothers you a little bit. You're like, because I guess at some point in like where they've been, someone's been behind them and like attacked them. So I guess they take that from experience, right? So what happened was this guy was in front of him. And he started screaming at him. So what happened was, I forgot what happened. My bed was really uncomfortable, and it was this Chinese guy, and I didn't like the guy who was next to me. So I went in this special room. I asked him, could I sleep? Because this couch beddy thingy I can't sleep on. They said, okay. As I went in, and I went in front of him, like for maybe a millisecond, and I was really calm. I said, don't stay in front of this guy's fucking. And sure enough, he started yelling, no, you can't do that. Don't do that. Don't stand in front of me. I go, listen, I have to go. There's no other way, What do you want me to go, you want me to fly in front of you, jump? I mean, what do you want me to do, So I didn't talk. I said, listen, I'm sorry. I have to get into the room. So he's a little nutty, but he wasn't that bad. I mean, but yeah, at some point I said, this guy could be actually a problem, because it was like the first time. I mean, everyone else wasn't that bad. It was like, it's funny, it was like, a couple and I noticed like, and this was interesting. It happened also in Zucker. So maybe, I don't know if there's a pattern. Like a lot of the Indian or Guyanese patients, and I group them together, seem to be very manic. Like there was a guy, and he was like, in the end, like he just met a guy, right? And he's like, oh yeah, let's go here. We're gonna go to Chicago, and like a guy just met. And say there was a similar guy in the Zucker. It wasn't the same guy though. So maybe, I mean, just maybe it was a coincidence. I don't know. Maybe it was. But he was like so manic. So he met this first guy, like a guy he knew for maybe 5 seconds. Let's go. We're gonna take off after we get out of here. We're gonna go right to Chicago. And this is like an Indian guy, which I'll talk about. Let me just make a note. This guy I want to talk about from the place I stayed long term. Let me just make a note because he's really important. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Usually I don't do that. I was like, how could I forget him? This guy really scared the crap out of me. Okay, so, yeah, so something. I mean, maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's just like a thing with Indian, and I say Indian, or in Guyana and Trinidad, they have a lot of the people that came over from India. They used them as indentured servants or whatever. They said, "Oh, come over here. You'll plow this field, and you'll get back to India once you pay off your debts." And of course, they never sent them back. I worked with a lot of Guyanese and Trinidadians. They told me the story. I used to audit them in Richmond Hill. So, so I fucking suck. There's a lot of bad shit. I mean, you don't know the bad shit that used to happen. I mean, you can't imagine that shit does happen, and things. All right, so about. So I got in at night, and stayed, and about the next morning, maybe like 1 o'clock, my sister, who's like really a saint, she's screaming at me. I mean, she's a great person. You can't, you just can't fucking tell you how much I owe her. I mean, if I win $1 million, I'm gonna give her half of it. If I ever win the lottery. Okay, so my sister comes and tells me that she sees me and she sees how horrible the fucking place is, and she's, I gotta get you out of here. I mean, I gotta get you the fuck out of here. This is fucking horrendous. Now, by the way, since I was in there involuntarily, they want to keep me. You know why? Because involuntary means green. What I mean by green, it means money. Give me the money, or you don't get no honey. Money's about everything, So give me the money. My insurance company would pay them. So they're like, and they're involuntary. Involuntary means we could keep you as long as the insurance company is going to pay you. And it's good insurance. We're going to keep you a long time. We're going to keep you ass here. Basically, their plan was to keep me in this holding area until a bed opened up upstairs. And who the fuck knows? So my sister was working on it. It took about another day, I think. So it's about a day and a half I stayed. So I eventually get transferred to Zucker Hospital in the middle of the day. And, one of the things that's a problem, I have irritable bowel syndrome and have an enlarged prostate. It was really bad at that point. I was peeing like a fucking Spanish galleon, and so it actually went pretty smooth. And it was middle of the day, and the traffic was really good. The guy took a really good route. I forgot how he went, but I know all the routes, and he took a really good route. Like he took like Van Wyck, and he took like a back road, and I don't know. He did a really good job, the ambulance driver. So eventually, got transferred to Zucker Hospital in Hillside, near Long Island and the New York City border. Okay, so it's a psychiatric hospital and part of the Long Island Jewish. Sorry for you, anti-Semites. Long Island Jewish Hospital. I ain't going to no Jew hospital. Oh, maybe I go. Those Jews are good doctors. I'll tell you. My cousin Claude, he had some bad infection, and he was up in New York City at the time driving his truck. And as Jews, he cured him might well. So eventually I get transferred to this hospital, Zucker Hospital. So I have so I get there, and this is about July 19th or so. And I stayed there about 17 days. And my best way of going through it is going through the people. So let me go through the roommates. The roommates first. Now, I have three African American roommates, and of the three, the most normal is Keith. Keith. He's the most normal. I mean, Keith. Was a poor guy. A bad-looking guy. First thing about Keith, he was hypersexual. Now, every girl there, and the kids are men with the women, which I think is not too good. He's hypersexual, which basically means every girl he wants to fuck. He wears the same shirt every day, which again, he only has one shirt. It's like really fucked up. They brought him in, and then he keeps telling me the psychiatric system's fucked up, and you get on this website. Of course, it's fucked up. But it's funny. I was just in the group, and you have pretty. I think she's the best of the group of facilitators. Her name is Isabella. Isabella's a cunt at the New York State Insurance Fund, and she basically says that whenever you're in the system, you're not going to like it. She's right. It was in the system. You get out of the system, you got your freedom, It's the way it works. Right now, I'm in the system. I'm under my sister and my brother-in-law, they're going to fucking have rules, and you're not going to like them. You're going to be defiant. That's the way things work. So Keith, and also he's big into rap. He would walk around, and he would give out these Amazon Kindles, and they have subscriptions, and he would do the rap, and it's just like poetry. It's like poetry. And he wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't know what was coming. So he wasn't bad. He wasn't a bad guy, And Keith was with a pretty long time. It was like about a week. And, so the only problem I had with Keith, a couple of issues I had with him. So I come in, and one of my brothers, my friend Sam, he brings me, really nice of him too. Thank you, Sam, if you watch the podcast. He brings me 20-piece chicken McNugget. So I bring it in. So, Keith, can I have some? Yeah, sure. He goes, I go, how many you want? He goes, 10. 10. Like, I was like going, well, I'm surprised he didn't say 11. This is like the mentality. Like, think about this. I have a 20-piece McNugget. Maybe he says 3, maybe 4. So I said, well, 10's a lot. There's other people here. I want to give them a few. I'll give you 6. He goes, okay. Maybe that's the psychology where I'll ask for a lot. I should have said at that point, I'm giving you shit. Who the fuck are you? You haven't given me... Oh, I think he made a reciprocal altruistic offer. We'll talk about, I kiss your ass, you kiss... Basically, that's what it is. I kiss your ass, you kiss my ass offer later on. So Keith wasn't too bad. And then, so here am I nice enough to give him fucking some chicken... I forgot the lame thing he tried to give me back, but it was fucking really lame. So I had like a gas problem. He used to snore. It wasn't that bad. I could sleep through the snoring. And, and every morning, the hospital food wasn't that bad. I mean, you had 3 meals in a square a day. It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. You used to have a snack at night, and had a lot of gas, and the gas used to build up really bad. And I would wait till he was like, I knew he was asleep, he was snoring, and I would like fart. And one day morning I fart, and he goes, yo, take that outside. So I felt bad. So we're in the day room, right, ready to eat. So I go, listen, Keith, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. He goes, you should know better than that. I'm ready to eat. You should know better than that. This guy's really fucked up. One shirt. Again, I don't blame him. Oh, so right before he leaves, this is the best. So he goes, so ready to sleep. So you go, oh, I'm trying to get rid of this. I can't wait to leave. Oh, great. And I thought this guy was a good roommate, actually. I didn't know what was coming. So, so he starts going into his sex. So first of all, Keith is like 32 years old. He goes, yo, grade you 8 years. I won't say my name. He goes, yo, he starts telling me about sexual fantasies. He goes, you have a mouth fuck. And he like tells all this stuff about eating at it. I'm like, I don't want to hear this. It's gonna be over soon. Just take it. And I took it. And I'm like, well, And he goes through all this shit. I'm like, this guy. I mean, he's hypersexual. This guy. And then he explains he can't get it up too because all the medication he's taking. This guy's fucked up, man. 32-year-old guy can't get it up, man. That's fucked up. I mean, 32, I could get it up at least. I mean, and he complains about the psychiatric. See, the key, he's right. She's right. You have to get out of the system. You won't have to take any of this medication, And do what you got to do. Get a fucking job or 2, 3 jobs. And you'll never have to be in the system. Don't you get it? I mean, that's why they put you on the medication. So that's first of my roommates. Now, so Keith leaves, and I get a new roommate. Okay, so it happens to be, and again, I have nothing against African Americans. I don't judge people by the content of the color of their skin, but as Martin Luther King Jr. said, but by the color of their skin. No, I don't judge people by the color of the skin, but their content of their character. So the next, I find out his name is Tevin. Eventually, I asked him his name, and so the first thing, so he puts his clothes away and everything. And he's my new roommate, and so Tevin is the first thing we notice. So I'm hanging out with this guy Gene. He's like a cool guy. He's a little quiet, and so Tevin, first thing he goes, and he doesn't speak much. Gene, he goes, "Hey, your new roommate, he has a twitch." And he's this big black guy, like really big. Like he's over 6 feet, and he must weigh like 260, 70 pounds. It's like, he got a twitch. I still see him every once in a while. It's like, sometimes 2 twitches. I'm like, this is not good. This guy's going to... And I'm scared this guy's going to wake up in the middle of the night. He's going to kick the living crap out of me. And there's going to be no one around. And I'm going to be a fucking dead motherfucker. He's gonna get up my ass, as the brothers say. And so the first thing that happens. So in a psych ward, they have something called a 1-to-1. Okay, Tevin has a 1-to-1 as soon as he gets in the place. Do you know what a 1-to-1 is? That means you have a good chance of committing some kind of violence. So you have to be watched 24, or throwing something, or your behavior is so erratic that they have to have someone watching you 24/7. That is not good. This is my new roommate. So that creates a problem that my door is open, the light's open, and of course, Tevin not only has a 1-to-1 going on, which that's not good. He starts out on a 1-to-1, and this is a big man. This is not a small man. I probably couldn't handle him anyway. He also snores, and we're not talking. Like the other guy Keith. We're talking. It's like the fucking whole room is shaking. And I've never heard snoring like this. You could hear this like there was nothing like this. It's the most amazing story I've ever heard. I was like, there's no God. I am sorry. There's no fucking. There could not be a God. I mean, if there is a God, maybe being an atheist, God's punishing me. That's what you're saying. Yeah, he's punishing you. He's showing you. Start believing in him, and he's going to make things better. You believe in Jesus, you might even get a hot girlfriend. Not someone that goes, I love you. I'm going to have your baby. He'd be addicted to crack and heroin, but I'm going to have your baby. So Tevin... I can't sleep. So the very first, I don't know how. I don't know how I got through this. So Tevin, goes and so I get out of the room. I go to the head. I forget. She's a very nice Jamaican woman. I go, listen, I can't sleep. And they have this special room like if you act out or act crazy, like they put a needle in you and you sleep for like 8 9 hours and you calm down. So I said, "Can I sleep?" And the woman said, "Okay." So so you get up next day, go to breakfast, whatever. And usually, what I used to do after lunch, I just couldn't put up with it. Everybody, it's too much noise. And they used to give me, I couldn't sleep after because they used to give me Ritalin and, for my ADD. But I used to just lie down and veg out. And there used to be afternoon groups, but I never used to go to them because, um, it's just too much, man. It's just too much. So I used to have to get away from everybody. And, so I think maybe the next day, or who knows, he comes in, he turns on the light and claps his hand. And I couldn't believe it. So what the fuck? I felt like saying, "What the fuck are you doing? This guy's like a fucking, this guy's fucking could be a serial killer for all I know. I don't fucking know." So I let it go, And I think I went another night, like the second or third night, I couldn't take it anymore. So finally, my sisters helped me, requested a roommate change. We finally got it. And I think I had one night where I didn't have anybody. So they sent this like homeless guy George. I think it's pretty good. They sent this homeless guy George to the uh, the room with George is fascinating. I could write a book on George. Um, George got to be one of the most fascinating. I mean, he has to be one of the most fascinating guys. I mean, I'm probably forgetting shit. George. This might be a long podcast. Just talking about George. Um, he's a fascinating man. And yeah, we'll talk about George. So I get, so this one night I get a little piece and said maybe I'll get lucky. Now it seems like like at first when I got into the psych ward, and by the way, it's a weird thing started. Like a lot of people, when you go to psych ward, you start meeting people. At first I met some interesting people. I mean, they had problems. And a lot of people would come in and leave really quickly. It was like weird. Here I am. I came before them, and they leave before me. I said, "What the fuck's going on? What the fuck?" A lot of them were like called voluntary, which means they came in, they're voluntary. So even like commit suicide, and let's say just need to go in, which I should have done. I should listen. I want to go to the Zucker. If I had known, in fact, I was thinking of going the other day. I was just saying, because my relatives are just putting a little too much pressure on me, and it gets to the point where I'm just not good. I just need a day, 3 days to get better. So I pay, visit it's probably 3,000 a day, maybe more. I think it's about 3,000. I forgot how I figured it out. And that's probably a low end estimate. It's probably a low end estimate. Who knows how much it's a day? I mean, one brother says 10,000. I thought originally like 1,000. I think I figured out it's about 3,000, but who knows? I mean, it's probably more. The medication and one thing I know is wow, the nurses there. I seen two nurses who are like fucking near tens. And I've seen like in mental health facilities, they have some of the prettiest women's. I mean, like even the substance abuse they have, and not as pretty as this place, but the Zucker. I mean, the place I go to this place in Kew Gardens for my outpatient rehab, and they have some very pretty girl. I mean, they're really cute. They're like 8 or 9, but this place had two girls that were just so fucking cute. I mean, they might have been like one girl I think was a 10, the other girl was like a 9, 9.5. I mean, I'm like saying, can't they meet a rich guy? They gotta work in a psych ward. Dangerous fucking lunatics, throwing things and I mean, throwing garbage cans and throwing chairs and can't they meet a rich guy that is so fucking good looking? And I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe they want to help people. Do you really want to help people that have put your fucking life in danger or I mean, their beauty's in danger. It just takes one nut, make a fucking sharp instrument, scratch your face, boom, and you're never the same. So whatever it is, okay, so I have one night of peace, and then the next day, I probably get maybe I get what I call the crack guy. This guy, I mean, so I think at this point they were having trouble attracting patients who could be helped. And So I get, everything's money, so they got to fill the beds, of course. You understand, it's an economic thing. They don't. Um, I call him the crack guy. He's another African American guy, and he was like just so skinny, and he wasn't a bad guy. I felt really bad for him, but he could be, and he could. So it was just so pathetic. It was just sad. He just was so gone, so gone. And I used to think, maybe legalize drugs, and maybe, you know, give people freedom of choice. But I've come to the conclusion, no, no. After seeing this guy, you have to selectively go through each drug and see what it could do. And crack, cocaine or crack, you cannot legalize. I'm sorry. You can't even decriminate. After seeing what this is done to this guy, you cannot. That was one thing I always said. You got to legalize. You got freedom of choice. You'll take away the profit motive, and things will be better, and it's still bad for you, but it'll be like tobacco or alcohol. But no, I'm sorry, it just can't happen. This is a horrendous drug. This is, if it wasn't crack, maybe just cocaine. If you couldn't convert it into anything, maybe. But no, if seeing this guy, I'm totally changed my mind. I'm on the wagon. You cannot have it. You cannot have it. If they could convert it into this rock cocaine, this stuff is. When you see this guy, he could barely speak. And I don't think he was like a dumb guy either. He said he was an engineer. I don't know about that. And it seems like he's getting better. I don't know. Like, I was recognizing his speech a little better at some point. And, again, I don't know if that was the fact that, his speech got just a little better. And I don't know if it was getting better. He was in the psych ward, or it was, maybe I was picking up his inflection better, but, whatever it was, she was getting better. So, and the crack guy wasn't bad. He snored a little bit, and I had a couple of nights where I couldn't sleep. It was just getting bad. One thing about Tevin that was interesting, I forgot to go back to my second roommate, who was there's a couple of things I even forgot to mention, that were really interesting. So, one thing, he was OCD. So, I cannot fold clothing to save my life. I am a moron when it comes to that. But he was really good, He would fold a perfect fold. And so I go to him, you could make a lot of money, And I think, he got, it's disparaging. I said, work in laundry, you're a big guy, work security, work too, you could make a lot of money. I think he kind of took that as disparaging, He wasn't a dumb guy, I don't think. He just had this twitch, And I think so he got one day mad at me, and I said to him, like, he'd always come to me, try to shake me down for food, because that was my relatives came, friends came. He would shake me down for food, and like I said, one time I need, if I have any left. So one time my brother came and he bought me potato chips. I just gave it to him, get him the fuck out of here. I had some soda left over. I said, Devin, come here. You want to get some soda? I'll give you. Just fold. I have a little clothing. Fold it. And I said he wasn't listening. I said, Devin, I got this ass. He goes, fuck. He could barely speak. He goes, fold your own fucking clothing. I said, okay. Let me not talk to this guy like a day or two to get out. This fucking guy is fucking crazy. And if he would kill me. Another thing, the hypersexuality. And again, is this something that African Americans males have? And again, I don't want to generalize. There's probably a lot of Caucasian males have it too. But I've seen this, and I don't know. I maybe talk to psychiatrists. Maybe this is something that they have. And I'm not talking hyper. I'm not talking, sexuality. All males have that. But I saw this really, it's just really is bad to the point they can't control it. It's like there's an area in, I think, in their brain that they just cannot. And I said, this Devin he was just, and every girl's trying to hit on, and to the point where the green, I call them greenies, the mental health workers. They're not nurses, but they're there to watch, and they give you, and they have diabetes, they give you insulin injections, and this Devin guy especially, and I saw another of the African American male patients, They just do not stop. They're told, and it doesn't matter. I mean, and I didn't see a similar thing in the white male patients. They just knew that. You want to get out of this fucking place. Stay away. Especially from the greenies. So, so Devin was warned many times. Do not. And by the way, I'm 15 minutes. I'm probably gonna take a break. Do not, go near. Do not harass. Do not touch the female greenies. And there was a really cute one. I think her name was Kristen. I really like this girl. I think she had like a little father thing going. I don't know what it is. She's Armenian, and maybe she's so. I'm from that part of the world too, sort of. My mother's from Serbia. I don't know what's going on, but she seemed to be really like me or something. Maybe she found me normal, and everyone like she's a really young girl, and I don't know what she's maybe a year out of college. Who the fuck knows? Maybe she's like 10 years older. She's bitter or something. But she's so cute. Oh my god, I couldn't tell you. So, and I think she really liked me because I didn't bother her, and I was normal, and I didn't harass her or whatever, and and so I wasn't there at the time. And they have this thing. There's a little area called fresh air. So you go outside, and it's a little, it's a fence, and it has barbed wire, and you're like in prison this whole fucking 17 days. You start to fucking lose your mind, at some point. And I would see Tevin harassing all the greenies. And so what happened was one of the other... I call her Princess, just call her Princess, we'll talk about her. I might have to do 2 podcasts. Well, I'm going to take a break, so it's going to be a part 3. But, so Princess was outside, and she told me that Tevin, and he was, again, harassing, one time there's a girl who used to be on my, and again, all these girls in the psych ward were really pretty. I couldn't figure, like, that would be the last place I would go, It was like, you want to, you're a really pretty girl. You want to work at Psych one? This girl supposedly was a mom. I mean, she was she wasn't like, she didn't look tall. She was very pretty though. I saw, and you want to work in a psych ward, so supposedly Devin touched her hair, which is going out of the boundaries of what you can do. And another time, Kristen, I would see her how she would interact with Tevin and a few other the males. The African Americans, especially because again they have this hypersexual. Again, I don't know if this is a problem. Maybe I just saw a few. And again, don't think I'm a racist. I'm not a racist. Okay, racist. But I saw. It's just something I see. It's something I observed, and I don't know. Again, it's a problem. Maybe all males, have this problem in psychiatric wards. And I saw a lot of the white males, and they did not do this. I mean. This is what I think a lot of the African American males are in for. And so, and someone told me about Tevin. All of a sudden, like, Kristen was always, keep away, don't you dare. And I heard her do that several times. And this is what I heard in another incident. Oh, and I forgot, I even said to Devin, as a fellow patient, I said, look, Devin, you got to stop this. You can't cross these lines. He totally did not listen to me. It's like his focus. He was so focused. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything, because who knows? He'd turn around and kick the shit out of me. But I said, listen, you got to keep cool down with this. I'm not going to let you out. And who knows? I mean, this guy had... By the way, finally, the one-to-one, they stopped with him. And I heard the story. This is like freaky, man. Or there's another Devin story. Well, when I get to the crazy Irish guy, that'll come. So Devin, so the next thing you know, as I hear this story with Kristen, I guess Kristen was going, keep away, don't you dare. And she would really know, how to stop these people. She would fight back. She'd be assertive. And I heard Devin, one of the girls said Devin was raising his fist, and I guess one of the green, they have like this big 6'7" guy. And, I guess he like interceded. They also, it's funny, and this makes sense. And when I tell you, this is some weird shit that goes on there. And they have what I call the cavalry. And they call, but it makes no sense. Now, they call the cavalry at times, but it makes no sense when they call them. Like, for instance, Princess sometimes used to act out and throw things. and she would attack nurses, but Princess couldn't do much damage. I guess they were worried that Princess is this heavy-set Peruvian girl, not very attractive. She's very slow, but she's not a bad person. And Princess was acting out, and you'll talk about why I call her Princess in a second. And so Princess would act out, and every time Princess would act out, and believe me, there was much more dangerous people in the psych ward. They would call the cavalry, and the cavalry is like, they would come downstairs from downstairs, and he was like these three. This is a white guy. He was really scary looking. This guy with like braided his beard, his bald head. One of these guys, and they had like 3 or 4 huge black guys. And fuck, man, enough to scare you to stop, anyone to stop. But there was other situations where I think the cavalry was needed, and they never called them. It made no sense. Like, the management of this place made no sense. It's like when they needed to call a cavalry, now Princess, they needed to call a cavalry. Maybe one guy could stop Princess. I could have stopped Princess, So it made no sense. Okay, maybe it's a good time to take a break because I feel something percolating, as Kramer said. So I remember Kramer, at the meeting, he wants to play Kramer in the Seinfeld pilot, but all of a sudden he feels something, he has to attend to something, and he goes to the bathroom, and the guy yells out, "Full house." Now, the thing that's funny is I had that happen to me one time. I remember I had lactose, and I didn't know I had lactose intolerance. Now, if you ever have lactose intolerance, you drink milk and you don't know that you can't digest it, right? So you got to go really bad. And it feels like someone's taking a knife and stabbing you from the inside. It's not fun. And they finally diagnosed me, because I'm, my mother's from the Mediterranean. And so I was working at the library. I was like horrible pain. So I went in. It was a full house situation, but I was saying to myself, let me just wait a minute or two. And sure enough, someone cleared out. But it was funny. So I got in, and I had to go, and it came out like credible. And there was this guy who lived in my, I think I spit again. I see something fly. I don't know what the fuck that is. An insect? I don't fucking know. The fucking insects are so smart. They know like how to get in, how to bite you. I don't know. It's fucking weird. So there's a guy, and I think his name was John Davis. He's probably, he was 7 years older than me, he's like an older guy, like that 25-year-old, that was a fucking old guy, right? And he was like an older guy, it's like really serious. I remember he's in the door, no one's gonna fuck with him because he was like an experienced guy. And so I remember I was done with my shit, and whenever I shit, I used a lot of toilet paper, right? And so I was wiping my ass, it was like, 3, but I use a lot, every wipe was a lot of toilet paper. So all of a sudden, next thing I hear, he gets up off his seat. He goes, "Why are you using so much fucking toilet paper?" And I saw it was him, the guy from my door. I was like, and I didn't say anything. So, okay, so on that note, we'll complete part 2, and then we'll go into, I'm done with my roommate, so we'll then talk about, we got a lot of people to talk about, so this might be multiple part, so this podcast, I might do let's see how we do. I think we might do a podcast 7 on this because this is a lot to talk about. I didn't think that, I think I go fast on this, but this, and I didn't even go off on any tangents, there's so much to talk about on this. All right, so let me take a break. Let me do some business, and then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a few of the characters, because I think that's the best way to go on this, and other stuff might come up too, and we'll continue.